Stephen Jones joins us now here in the GBag Nation here on your home of the Cowboys. And a good afternoon, sir. How the heck are you?
Doing good, guys. How you doing?
We're doing good. We're just talking about that fair catch free kick that the Chargers pulled off last night. That's pretty neat. Have the Cowboys ever done one of those in your time?
Not that I can recall. I think it's the first one, and I think maybe before we had the team.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I know we've never done one.
I mean, it might be cool to have it in your back pocket with Brandon Aubrey. I think he might be good from 75 or so if the other team can't block it.
It's always good to get tweaked on these things. I saw where officials and coaches, they were all huddling, trying to figure out exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you guys are huddling now. Go ahead.
I'm sure we'll be huddling on the competition committee. Make sure it's not that our staff hadn't done a great job, but it'll be. I'm sure we'll go over it one good time this off season.
Well, right on, man. And I'm sure you guys have gone over this Buccaneers team several times. I mean, they were on the rope 6 weeks ago. They lost 4 in a row. Now they've won 4 in a row. How good are they? Do you think they're better than their record says?
Yeah, first of all, nothing but respect for Coach Bowles. He was with us when Coach Parcells was here. He's obviously one of the good ones in the business, great ones in the business, and he'll have his team ready. They've won a lot of football games. We've had some good wars with them with Brady, but the other one that I've got a ton of respect for is obviously Baker Mayfield, the competitor he is, and they just got a good football team, and they're fighting to get in the playoffs, and we've got a lot longer shot, but we're going to go out there and compete, and I like our chances to go out there and play really good football and win a football game.
Stephen, the injury report just dropped. It looks like Micah is questionable with an illness, and then Jalen Brooks has been ruled out with a knee. Anything new you can share with us about those two?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Micah doesn't come around. I mean, you never know on these flu bugs, but he should be fine. And, Jalen, on the other hand, he hyperextended his knee on the last play of practice, unfortunately, and, probably looking at something there where probably can't go this week, but should be good to go after that. But, the great news is with, us, having a good number of guys at the receiver position, we should be fine.
Stephen, I hope you give me a little latitude on my question here, but I've all of a sudden kind of got interested in numbers and how it pertains to caps and stuff like that. And I just was curious because you guys are getting tremendous value from players that don't cost a lot on your cap. And I give you credit in the staff for credit for finding these guys. Is this an avenue that might be a better way for you guys to handle free agency when, you always talk about, people say, well, they're never active. Is this a plan that you guys have that you're using that, hey, listen, we could sign these guys and we're getting more value out of these signings and then maybe guys that are high-priced free agents?
Well, when you have to, Brian, and it's a great question, and it's obviously one that we go over, and, we're obviously, being questioned in terms of our strategy, but no question, when you're looking down the barrel at signing Dak and CeeDee and Micah, and, you do have to draft and develop and really do your homework on players in terms of, guys who might not be, there at the top in terms of on the list to be paid. So, yes, I mean, that's certainly, our strategy when you want to keep Dak, Micah, and CeeDee around. I mean, 3 of the top paid players in our league. You have to find not only the guys you draft, but you got to have some good luck in the college free, our priority free agency, which we call college free agency, but it's important. That's our second draft. And then, the other thing is finding, a guy like Chuma. Those guys are important. We found Hankins for a couple years. Those are important players that can step up. And then when you have, draft picks that really go out and play at a high level, and I know I'm talking about one that's on IR right now, but, you get a guy like an Overshone who's, was quickly becoming one of the top players in this league defensively. And Then you see a Maris step up, who we drafted in the mid rounds there, and that's what you got to have happen when you decide that you're going to spend the type of money that we do on the top end of your roster, which is your top 3, 4, a Diggs, guys like that. Now we do have players like Zach Martin, and obviously Tyron Smith will be rolled off this year. Zach Martin will roll off next year. DeMarcus Lawrence, who's been a great player for us, some of his bigger money from his prime years are rolling off. Some of that cleans up, but you certainly have to have production from your drafted players and your priority free agents and your guys that you're looking for, vets that can step up and play well for you.
Yeah, and the reason I was bringing that up, Steve, because I look at the value of your players. Like Rico Dowdle's playing like a $12 million player. Carl Lawson playing like a $14 million player. Brock Hoffman playing like a $17 million player. These are all guys that you have that very, very manageable, and I just wondered if that was a strategy. And by the way you're saying it, yeah, it's part of. It's not completely keeping you from going after big free agents, but it's just something that, like I say, you just continue to lean on as you go forward with your cap.
Well, Jerry and I and Will were talking the other day, and, one of the things that, everybody was wanting to, give you a little pat on the back for is, the deals that we cut with Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks. I mean, there we're getting, really high-end players for a low-end draft pick and, if you will, a bargain price for those type of players. Right. And we got them, for sub-10, when those guys might cost you, as you said, Brian, you were mentioning numbers, 15 to 20 in a normal market. So, you have to look for things like that to sprinkle your roster with when you're wanting to pay your elite players. And we're fortunate. Hell, we're fortunate enough to draft Dak Prescott, fortunate enough to draft CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, Diggs,
Osa Digizua.
Yeah. I mean, Osa. Yeah. I mean, he's obviously a guy who's coming up, and he's a guy we'd love to keep around. But you gotta hit on those guys.
When you draft so well, one thing we've also talked about, and I wonder your experience with this, Stephen, is all these contracts seem like they come up at the same time. And Micah, I know, was talking this week about maybe not being the highest paid defender, but he also doesn't want to hold out. He wants to try and get that deal done. Do you look at that maybe and would wait on a deal to try and stagger these out a little bit, or is it still just beneficial to get ahead of these things?
No, if you get ahead of them, you want to get ahead of them. And hats off to Micah. And I've seen, like you guys have, some of the comments that he's made. He's certainly had conversations with Jerry and I, and that's what we want. We want guys who want to be here. And, I think this year more than ever, having the injuries we have, I think our top guys are feeling it that, you can't just have unlimited funds. Now, as you said, Brian, hats off to these guys, who are stepping up.
Yes,
young drafted players, the Hoffmans, the Lawsons, the guys like that step up and, play well. I mean, look at Schoonmaker. He's a guy who, maybe last year you said maybe you didn't hit on him, and now, he's playing well. I mean, Mozzie picked it up this year. I mean, you got these guys around who you think a lot of, and, they step up. Sometimes it takes 1 year longer or 2 years longer, but ultimately you need them to step up.
Stephen, what are we in for with this Netflix show? Are you guys excited about it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a little bit in the weeds a little bit with you on that. I mean, what I'm the most fired up about is I think it's great that people are going to really, I think, enjoy this. And, at the end of the day, it's a big focus on Jerry and what he's done, as a entrepreneur, as a obviously a Hall of Fame owner, and, his journey. But what fires me up the most is we're going to have something here documented, not only on what our fans will see, but on the hundreds of hours of taping that our family will have, my kids will have, Charlotte's kids will have, Jerry's kids, their kids will have documented about, Jerry and Senior's journey and what he's done, for business, what he's done for the NFL, what he's done for the game of football. I think people are going to be intrigued by, and these guys are amazing at what they do. So I'll be very surprised if this isn't something that people are really going to enjoy.
One thing that people are already intrigued by is, from the promo that was released yesterday, the quote with Jerry saying it's more than just winning football games. What all do you think he meant by that?
I think it's the whole. It's at the end of the day, it's the full body of work. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, winning the games is huge, but it is more than that. You've got to put the resources. You got to go out and generate business so that you can leave the franchise in a better place than when you left it. I mean, when we got the team, we were in Valley Ranch, which, by the way, in its time was one of the top practice facilities in the league, and we were playing at Texas Stadium. And now the franchise plays at AT&T, which is one of the top facilities not only in the country but in the world. And then obviously the Star, and what Jerry and our teams brought there in terms of a mixed-use development, but also, a way for our fans to be able to go enjoy something else about the Cowboys. So hopefully, not only do you want to win games, and certainly that's, utmost, but and we've obviously had some good runs at some Super Bowls, but our fire burns bright to get another one. But, at the same time, there's a whole lot more to these franchises, than just the Super Bowl part. Don't get me wrong, though. No one understands more how much urgency is on winning a championship and bringing another Super Bowl to our fans here in Dallas.
I love it. Best of luck to the Longhorns and your family this weekend, and go give them hell Sunday night. We'll be pulling for you.
Hey, go
Sounds
Scots.
great, guys. Always enjoy being on with you. And go Scots. I agree.
Salute.